Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Sarah, period. It is now day 5 of Vlogmas, and today we're going to be talking about off-campus housing. So for those of you who may know me, I go to SUNY New Paltz and I live off-campus. I'm a junior, so this is my first year living off-campus. I lived in dorm life for my first 2 years at SUNY New Paltz. So for my last 2 years, I wanted to get an experience off-campus. So I decided to make a quick YouTube video about it to give any information that can help anybody that's looking to move off-campus in the future or now or whatever. Off campus by the second semester of my sophomore year, that's when I started my process and my search for off-campus housing. So people move off campus for a lot of different reasons. I have personal reasons of my own, but just some universal reasons that people move off campus is like for the money. Depending on how much financial aid you get, you can get a big amount of refund check and it takes off your bill. Even if you don't get a refund check back, it lessens the cost that you have to pay directly to the university. In terms of financial, that's why a lot of people move off campus. But for personal reasons, like people move off campus because they want their own space. Like for me, I had a roommate freshman year that I loved. One of my closest friends to this day, and I'm so glad that I was on campus my freshman year because I did meet a lot of people that way. But by sophomore year, I was getting placed with randoms because my roommate had left New Paltz, unfortunately. So I always got random roommates and it just wasn't doing it for me. I'm a Virgo. I'm very picky. I'm very finicky. And also, if you know me, I'm scared of the dark. Not everybody likes to sleep with some light on. People like it pitch black. I can't do that. That's not me. Me and roommates, not a vibe. So it was just getting to the point where I was like, if it's gonna save me money and I get money back, why don't I just live off campus? My only thing with that, it had to be close enough where I can get to campus at a reasonable time and I'm able to get to campus safely. Meaning like there's like streets, like there's sidewalks, like it's an easy path. It's nothing crazy where I feel like if I was to walk home at night I'd be scared, which you still shouldn't do that anyways. I don't be trusting any of that. Like, don't walk home by yourself late at night, but if necessary I was able to do so. So that was one of the things that I was looking for off campus, and that was like something that I put as a boundary. Like if I couldn't find that house, if I couldn't find that something to accommodate those boundaries that I had, I would stay on campus because it wasn't worth it. Whatever your reasoning is for moving off campus, that's you. Like that's something you got to find within yourself, something you got to really fight for and be like, is it worth it? So boom. So the next step is, let's say you decided to move off campus. Now you got to think of, what am I supposed to be looking for? Matter of fact, where do I even look? Like, how do I get a crib? Where do I look for that? So for me, I didn't have anybody tell me where to look. The people I knew that were upperclassmen were living on campus. Like, they wasn't looking for houses. Only one other person I knew. But I ended up having to just do a lot of research, and I started this research in December because just logically knowing, if you want to look for off-campus housing, there's no way you have to wait till last minute. And I've heard that from a lot of people, that if you're looking for off-campus housing, you have to get a head start on it and do it early because houses get booked up pretty fast, and they're not lying. Like, they're not lying. So I thought December was early enough because I'm not gonna move to campus in August and start looking in like October. That's weird. So there was a few websites that I used, like Perchin is my favorite one. So I was going through Perchin for a while. I also used the bulletin board at New Paltz. So when they say this, it's a virtual bulletin board. When people say I found my house off the housing bulletin board or housing BB, it's a virtual bulletin board. So the link is housingbb.newpaltz, something like that. I'll put the link in the description box. And it's a little more unstructured. It's more free-willed. It's literally like a bulletin board, so it can get messy, but it does have a lot more options. So those are the two places that I know that you can look for off-campus housing for New Paltz. If you look it up on Google, I'm pretty sure there's other ways, but those two are the most legit ways that I can honestly recommend to people that are looking for off-campus housing. So that's where I recommend people look. So I utilized both of those searches when I was looking for off-campus housing. Another tip when messaging your landlord is you want to give them enough information so when they first look at it, they don't have any questions. They know exactly who you are, what you're looking for, and they know what to do with you. But also keeping in mind that they're not going to read an essay and it's quick and fast. Like, for example, what I would say to my landlords, and my landlord was like, hi, my name is Sarah. I'm a junior at SUNY New Paltz. I'm interested in this house. My number is blase blase. And I would like further information on this house for whatever year I'm renting it for. So let's say, example, right now we're in fall 2020. Let's say I'm looking for a house for next academic semester, which would be fall 2021. So I would be like, hi, all of that. And at the end, I'm interested in this. I'm interested to rent this, whatever the place is, for the academic year of fall 2021. Boom. So they know what year you're looking to rent. Contact information so that it's right there and ready for them to grab it whenever they want to contact you for further information. Put your name, of course. And I always say put in the year, because a lot of landlords are going to ask you anyways what year you are. Like when they meet you, they're going to ask you. No landlord is not going to ask you what year you are. After messaging a few landlords, after using both Purchase and the housing bulletin board, you should start getting responses. Like depending on the landlord, I don't know how long it takes. Like it could take a few days, they could respond in a few hours. It really just depends. Like it's nothing crazy. So then you're going to start getting responses. They're going to want to meet up with you. They're going to ask, when do you want to see the house? Being that it's COVID, it's a little different. A lot of them are going to ask you to meet Zoom, like meet via Zoom, meet via WebEx, FaceTime, whatever the case. So a few questions that you ask your landlord off the dome is, depending on if it, like you're looking with a group, like let's say you're looking with a group to move off campus, because usually you're not going to find a one bedroom. You're going to need housemates. Is it a joint lease or an independent lease? They're going to typically provide that information to you, but just in case, you asking that question shows that you have knowledge of like the lease information. It shows that you have knowledge to tenant and landlord relationships, and you know the information that you need. To explain what an independent and a joint lease is, an independent lease is when you're basically, it's just you. So let's say you're a group of 5 people, and in the house you all have independent leases. You are in charge of yourself and your own rent and making sure you get your rent paid to your landlord. You're not in charge of any of your other housemates, because it's only you on that lease. If it's a joint lease, then all 5 of your housemates are responsible for putting rent, or for giving rent to your landlord. So let's say you have 5 people and one of them doesn't have rent money. Legally, it's still all 5 of you to figure out how you're going to get this one person's money, or all of the money together, to pay your landlord. That's a joint lease. Like all of you are responsible for each other. I always recommend independent leases. It takes out a lot of the responsibility that you have on others, and you just focus on yourself, which is easier and always the best thing to do. Another thing that you should ask is always about if utilities are included. So you have to figure out if you're going to have to pay for electric, Wi-Fi, or is that included in your rent price. So if it's included in your rent's going to be a little higher, because it's taking account for all the electric, water, and all that and Wi-Fi that you're going to use. But if you're only paying for the room and utilities is left up to you, you have to keep in mind it's going to be up to you to pay and find. The one that's really not that important depending on who you are, but for me it's always pretty important, because I want to know exactly what I'm going to have to save up for, is if furniture is included. And the reason why I say that is because, let's say if your furniture is included, it could also be a little pricier, because you don't have to worry about buying your own furniture. It comes with. You're gonna have to account before you move in. What do you need? Do you need a bed? Do you need a bed frame, a desk? Like, do you need a dresser? Like, exactly what you need. A chair, a TV stand, all of that. You're gonna have to figure out how you're gonna pay for, where you're gonna get the money from, how are you getting it there. All of this to account for. So having that information again before you even sign the lease is very important. Besides all of that, I suggest that you start looking for houses again, like I said, in December, because a lot of the houses do get taken up pretty fast. Like I started looking for a crib, like I said, in December, and I found one in January, late January, and a lot of the options that was left over were not the best, in my opinion. Just in my opinion, were not the best. So you want to start your search early. Even if you're just looking and you're just in contact with a bunch of landlords, you could build a relationship with one of them and see if they can hold down a spot for you, or if they don't mind taking their house off of the market, or off of whatever search engine they're using, so that when you get your money right and your funds right, you can hold it down. Another tip is asking if your landlord works with financial aid. So it's good to have that clarification, because if you depend on financial aid to pay for your rent, sometimes financial aid takes a while to come in, and your rent may be due before it comes in. Or them knowing that you're dependent or you work with financial aid will give them the understanding and will help lessen the conflict. Because if your landlord doesn't work with financial aid, you're depending on financial aid, and let's say your rent's due but financial aid's not here yet, your landlord's not going to want to hear it. Your landlord wants that money, whether or not financial aid is coming through or not. The next thing I think about is groceries. You really sleep on groceries until it's really you in your own crib buying groceries. And my mom used to tell me don't eat her out of house and home. She was not lying. Keep in mind, I was living in dorms and I was still doing grocery shopping and stuff like that. But it's so different when you move off campus, because then you could still pay for the meal plan, technically, if you really want to. But it's a big expense, and if you're gonna move off campus, you might as well drop it, because you're not gonna be on campus that much to pay for a meal plan. If you or your housemates have a car, I really recommend leaving Newport and going to BJ's, Walmart, all of that. You can hit Tops and ShopRite on your little during the month when you have to do little pick-me-ups or whatever. But for your big monthly compras, grocery shopping, all of that, Walmart. The worst feeling in the world is getting something from a grocery store and either not eating it and then it goes bad. Another thing when moving off campus that a lot of people, they say it, but you don't realize it until you're really in a situation. Choose your housemates wisely. Like, choose them wisely. Do it as if it's a job interview. Honestly, like, it seems a little heartless and a little rude, but it really saves you so much stress at the end of the day, and it saves your relationship if you treat it as a job interview. Are they okay with cleaning schedules, guest policy? Are they okay with house sleep? Do they prefer house grocery shopping or independent grocery shopping? How do they do the dishes? Do they wash their clothes on a schedule? It's like, or is everybody free for all? Do people operate on house meetings? Like, having house meetings for me, just importantly for me, is very key to a functioning house. Like, it's like, I think having a house meeting is very similar to moving. It's like having an e-board meeting or like having a conference. And I say this because when you operate in a house, depending on the size, the more people that you're dealing with, the more different ideas, different personalities, different perspectives, different emotions you're messing with. And you can really be really close to somebody. When you're in their intimate space every day and you're living with this person, you have to account for a lot of more things than you would have in a regular average friendship. And just having those conversations before you even move in. And it's okay not to live with your friends. It's okay to know that you and your friend will never live together. It's okay. It's completely okay. You're not compatible that way. That doesn't diminish your friendship. That doesn't mean so-and-so's a better friend or you and this person have a better relationship than this person. That is not the case at all. But all in all, when looking for a house, you really have to have fun with it as well. It can be really stressful, and you can find at times you're like, is it worth it? Make sure to have fun in it. Make sure when you're looking for houses, have the fun. Think about how you're going to decorate it. If they allow you to paint the room, think about what you're going to buy for your room to make it your own individual space. It can be fun. Be mindful, have the information there, and know that this is an important decision that you're making. That is really it for today. Like, comment, and share the video. For anyone who needs help or anything like that, they can always contact me personally. My Instagram page is connected to my YouTube page. DM me. But until next time.